Good evening, everybody. Welcome for a late night chit chat. How are you today? I hope you've had a beautiful day. I have. Um, we are here late tonight, largely because I had such a fantastic day. But we had a really good church service tonight, and Elder Latanya Carson preached tonight and told our house. Oh, it was fantastical. But I just wanted to jump on for a little bit tonight, just literally to check in and see how everybody is doing. We've been talking about it a lot on the other channels and other networks, and just how times are really weird right now. Families are dealing with a lot of stress and strain. There's violence everywhere. It just seems like, um, we're dealing with a major situation in the Ukraine with the battle there. And there just seems to be so much going on. And I just want to check in and share a word of encouragement to, be informed, know what's going on in the world. Definitely, we must do that so we know how to pray, of course. But we need to be informed of what's happening in the world. But I wanted to stop in to say, don't let the information get you down. Don't let the information wear you down. In the scriptures, laughter is described as medicine. And in this season, I think it's important to remember to enjoy something. I was talking to my friends tonight at church, my brother and sister ministers, Jason and Clemisha, and they were talking about the family getting bikes and them going out riding together. Because I saw some pictures of the kids over the weekend, and even down to little baby Riley's got her little helmet for her little her piece that she rides in. And it's so important in this season that you take care of your body. We've been talking for 2 years about drinking your water, keeping your immune system healthy, finding the right combination of supplements and food. Some of the things you need to cut out, some of the things you need to add in, and we'll continue to talk about those things. But taking care of your body physically, some nights we've been on here and we've talked about taking care of your spirit. We've talked about, being caretakers and the importance of self care in those situations. We talked about, understanding the scriptures and what the scriptures have to say about where we are right now and the things that we're experiencing, so that we can know that, there's no need to lose hope. There's no need to lose focus. There's no need to lose faith, because in the midst of all that we're dealing with, our Heavenly Father is still with us in everything. I had a flashback for a moment to the message tonight with that statement. But seriously, we have to take care of ourselves physically. We have to take care of ourselves spiritually, and then we also have to take care of ourselves emotionally, because it is easy for all of the different hits that are coming from all over the place to get you in a situation where you're acting weird. You're acting, where it begins to weigh you down, and it's difficult to have hope. And so I just want to come on for a few minutes tonight, talk about a few news stories, and then share something that I found funny today, and then I'm go. We gone after that. But as I said, we do have some very serious things going on with the war between, I hate to call it a war because it's actually an occupation. Russia going in and literally, but declaring war against the nation of Ukraine. And it's so heartbreaking to see so many people suffering because people can't talk. Diplomacy isn't happening. Discussions aren't working. And it's such a shame to see those things happening. But I don't know about you. I personally believe that Putin acts like a man who, you ever heard the old people talk about, he got death on him. He just is behaving like someone who knows that his days are short and he just wants to create as much ruckus as he possibly can. Um, I, I, I've been saying that since this started, that he's just acting. They called him a madman and all that, and this really is very mad behavior. Um, so I pray for his soul, but I also pray for things to come to a peaceful resolution, that people are protected, that lives continue to be saved, because we know that many are losing their lives. And again, it's ridiculous to think all of that devastation happening simply because we don't want to talk to each other. We don't want to come to a peaceful solution and resolution. And you're going to do what I say, or you have to die. That's man, that's an awful demonic situation. But we do keep them lifted in prayer. But there was a news story from this week, and I want to share a little bit about it because I do. This is a person who I really do. Um, I really do appreciate for their skill, and it's the young woman, Brittany Griner. And for those of you who may not be familiar with Brittany, she is um, an American basketball player, and she has some. She, like many of the female basketball players from the WNBA, they play overseas. They play overseas during the off season here in America. They play overseas, and part of her story is really troubling simply because she's an American sports figure. She's a star, and it's really interesting to see that despite her celebrity, um, despite her celebrity, despite it being um, a very widely broadcast news story, we're not really hearing a lot. We're not really hearing a lot about her, and not really seeing a lot, if anything, being done, um, about her arrest. Now, reportedly, sometime in mid-February, Brittany, who you see in the picture there, um, was taken into custody on drug charges. They said that she had a vape that had some banned substances in it, and given that that country is now at war, her arrest happened before the war, but the news didn't come out until till March the 6th. And it's really troubling. I mean, I ask those of you who pray to pray for her and her family, because not only is she a basketball player and celebrity, um, but she is also well widely known in the LGBTQ community, and we know Russia has a very firm stance against those lifestyles, and there is some concern for her, um, because she's not being seen. I don't know that I don't know how much contact there is. I was reading a news story today from the commissioner for the WNBA, who was talking about them doing what they could to secure her release, in time for the season. And I was like, man, it's weird to me to be thinking about a basketball season when um I mean, my prayer is that they're able to get her released and return to her family, regardless of a basketball season, regardless of, whether or not, they're able to get her home in time to play ball. Hey, Minister Jason, how you doing? But my hope is that they're able to secure her release, that all is well with her, that she's simply being detained because she's been arrested, but that she is safe. Is my prayer. Sometimes when people are trying to prove a point, they go to very dangerous levels, and um, I think it's a shame that it's as difficult to find out how she is, simply because, um, there I don't think there's a male athlete who could be arrested like that, and we're not seeing something or hearing something, or it's not talked about much more broadly. And so, unfortunately, I think, her being a female athlete, and her, the her lifestyle, and Russia's really, strict approach to it. I think a lot of those things may be playing into why it's not a bigger story. And I know even the death of the journalist, that occurred, it's been mentioned, it's been talked about, but, and I know that many people have lost their lives. And so every life lost is important. But it seems like this is a really interesting, situation that's going on. And so just ask you all to, keep the people of Ukraine in your prayers, keep the people in Russia in your prayers. Pray for the mind of Vladimir Putin. He's in bad shape. Um, but pray for, protection for the people of the Ukraine, and that the hearts and minds of those Russian soldiers that are actually carrying out the orders that he's given. That, even something happens with that, it's too much, right now. It really is too much. And so we just want to keep them lifted. But I also wanted to just, make you aware of what of the last we've heard, the situation with Brittany Griner. There hasn't been any change. She is still there, but we don't know that there's any ground being made, in them releasing her, or at least making sure that, her family is able to talk to her and see her and know that she's okay. So if that was my daughter, that was my sister, that was my friend, I would want something major done, something major, to be happening. And so I pray that, her situation closes out well, because it sounds like she was on her way home when she was arrested. So hopefully, prayerfully, Miss Brittany will be on her way. Now, this next story, I wanted to cover this before we start talking about laughing matters, simply because this is turning into a mess. At the start of things, when we first came to know that, Kim and Kanye were, going to be divorcing, um, there was, you know, there was the storyline of, she was divorcing him. He didn't want to leave the marriage, and he's standing firm for his relationship to hold together. And everything seemed to be going well and quietly until she started seeing someone else, even though the entire time he's been seeing someone else. That's a non-issue, apparently, but for him. But what has been happening is just unsafe behavior. It's unsafe for her, and it's unsafe for him as well. I mean, I don't know if he forgets we're still in America. I know he has a lot of money, but black men stalking white women, a white woman, he better get himself together quick, fast, and in a hurry, because I think he's putting himself in danger as and deservedly so, because I agree wholeheartedly with, the statements that Trevor Noah made. He's stalking her now. Apparently he bought the house across the street from her. There's just been all kinds of behaviors. Well, it looks like today he has been temporarily suspended from Instagram, for violating hate speech and bullying policies. And it's unfortunate to me that his behavior towards Kim and her friend wasn't enough to get him put off. But things have escalated now, as I think most people realize that it would, to where even celebrities who've made statements about it, he's now gone after those people with his words. And what Instagram said was not on our platform, and so they deleted some of the content. I haven't read it, but I read the story from the NBC News website that talked about, I did watch Trevor Noah's discussion of what's going on with Kanye, and it really was it was very poignant because, again, the thinking is so many women experience issues where they're being stalked by exes. And we see the story not just on Lifetime movies and fictitious stories in real life. We see women who are in danger, from exes. We see it happening with men as well. But the prevailing imagery generally is a woman who is injured, killed, harassed, whatever the case may be, by this ex who, you know, is okay with us being apart, but just doesn't want anybody else, to be with you. It has moved on in their life, dating several women since they have no longer been together, and all under the guise of, I'm looking out for my kids. Yeah, look out for your kids, but you don't have to have bad behavior towards your wife, towards your ex-wife. And then, so apparently, what has occurred is on his Instagram page, there were some things he said that were threatening, some things that he said that were inappropriate, using racial slurs to talk about Trevor Noah. That he had some really inappropriate responses to D.L. Hughley. And so, again, it's not lost on us, I think, and I think we should not miss the fact that it was his behavior against men that finally got him banned. But the things that he was saying and the behaviors that he was exhibiting towards Kim, I think because America has a certain, issue with her, um, there's probably I think people almost enjoying him harassing her, but that is what he's been doing. He's been harassing her. He is stalking her. And I don't know, again, if he realizes in America that's a dangerous thing for a black man to be doing. So um, I pray that nothing happens to him, just as I pray that nothing happens to her. But the other part about being a celebrity that I think he's missing in this whole thing is, as a celebrity, you may just be talking, but you have your fans who will act on the things that you say. Because, again, fans, fanatics, they will take up your cause, and who knows how how the kids could be put in danger, how Kim could be put in danger simply because of some fan who reacts to something he says. Whether he does anything or not, and vice versa, the same for him. Some crazed fan who feels like they need to protect him and injure him. But I think he puts himself in a dangerous position, even with the authorities, because of the fact that he is stalking this woman, and he's doing it very publicly. I believe he's putting himself in a very dangerous position. So, again, an informational story, but also at the same time, if you're a person who, there are celebrities who, um, they sit in a certain place in my heart where I do end up praying for them regularly, and Kanye is one of those people. And because of some of his behaviors and everything, recently, I think that it's important because we already know, he has a history of mental illness. He's told us that. It's not jokes. It's not funny. He's told us that he's had a history of mental illness and is not always in compliance with what he needs in order to be healthy. So, praying for Kim and the kids, praying for everybody involved in this situation, that cool heads will prevail, and that his time in Instagram jail, Insta jail, is that what it's called? Oh, that his time in Insta jail will be effective and allow him to sit down. Because the other unfortunate part, a lot of times, is people with money. People don't tell them no. People don't tell them to go sit down. People don't tell them to be quiet. The people around them don't necessarily say anything. They'll watch, I know it used to really anger me when I would hear a lot of the celebrities that were around Elvis Presley, and dating myself here, but Elvis Presley was huge star when I was a kid, and I now you know it was probably more prevalent back in the 90s when you would hear these like old timey gospel artists talking about how they sang with Elvis Presley and they were with Elvis Presley and they knew this and they knew that and they were close to him, and it's like, yeah, but what were you saying to him about, his lifestyle? What were you saying to him about how he was living? What I take You get the celebrity for being around him, but who's holding him responsible? Who holds them accountable? Who says no and no further? I can't be here if you're going to continue to damage yourself like this. So, I just pray for somebody wise around him. There's so many who say, well, since his mom died, he had been in his mind. Kanye's had some weird behaviors his whole career, even when his mom was alive, his whole life. And so I don't think it's to be taken lightly when things elevate to, you can't control your behaviors. You can't control your mouth. You can't control your words. And you're so angry with me that I become a center focus for you. Um, Again, especially knowing that there's some mental health issues. So I don't know. I think Kanye needs to chill out simply because um, it would be he's one good excuse away from a good incident with the police, simply because of his choices and his behaviors. And it's avoidable drama, and I really do um, wish the best for everybody involved in that situation. And we've seen so many stories like that. We get such about these celebrities' lives, and we get to see, their failures. We get to see their triumphs. We get to see, their victories, highs and lows. This hair is really not doing right. We get to see, the victories, the highs, the lows, the good and the bad. And this is a really, I think, a bad season in their lives. And I'm praying that, things turn around for them. But speaking of turnaround, some people just won't go away. Speaking of stalking, speaking of unwanted guests and visitors, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady has decided he is not done with us. Via an online post, Thomas made us know that his place is still on the football field. Now, I've seen some memes that said he spent a few weeks at home with his wife and kids and realized he needed to get back on the road. But it shows sometimes how, in the moment it may seem like the right idea, the right thing to do. But once you've had some time to collect your thoughts and kind of reassess situations, you come up with a different decision. So I'm not a I don't even know how to categorize what I am where Tom Brady is concerned. I don't root for him, but I am impressed by him. I will say that. So I'm not mad that he's coming back. I don't like him, but I'm not mad that he's coming back. I think it makes the football arena much more interesting when we have people like him, because when it comes down to sports figures, I am a fan of those assassins. Those people who play hard, they've got that sharp eye. They're going to give you a good show and a good game. They're going to give you good effort, and it's not really, it's memorable. And Tom has had definitely some exceptionally memorable performances. And I think it's good for the game. It's good for the football community. It's good for the league. And so I won't say I wish him the best. I just hope he stays healthy, as I do with all the players. But um, So yeah, we got another season to kick around Tom Brady. So we can be looking forward to him and his last second shenanigans coming up real soon. But right now they're on break, and I couldn't imagine at his age, at the age he actually is, making that decision to come back. But I'm not built like that. I'm not a football player. I'm not. I don't have that physical strength to desire to get thrown around at that age. Definitely not at this age, but that age either. That's crazy. But congratulations, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Your dude is coming back. Hopefully, it works out for you. It didn't really help you this year that he was there. Um, so, we'll see. But that'll be good. That'll be interesting. So, now, this last thing that I want to talk about, it's funny to me because every day I'm reminded that I'm getting older. And in getting older, your memories and perceptions sometimes get a little warped. And I'll tell you what happened. So I am looking at Facebook, I think it was. I think it was on Facebook. And this video comes up, and it's about Tia Mowry, the one of the twins from Sister Sister. And it's her husband. He's an actor. His name is Corey Hardrick. And I'm going to share a picture of Corey in a minute. I'm trying to get these open so that I can just like one behind the other go in. And every time I see Corey, I feel like I'm familiar with his work. I feel like I know things that he's done. And I figured out today that I don't know his work. I think I'm familiar with one movie that he did. I remember him being in, I think it was the movie about Tupac, I think it was. And just one second after I get all of these open. Oh, hold on. Whoa, no. Before I get to this story about Corey Hardrick, I want to celebrate this beautiful Black woman by the name of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, I think is the order of her names. I am so, let me tell you on this situation for me. I'm one of those people who I can celebrate the moment, but also see where I have a problem. And sharing a picture now, hopefully it'll come up. My bandwidth isn't great tonight. But federal judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, I think is the combination of names again. It's been nominated for the Supreme Court. And I got super excited when I was like, oh, it's a Black girl with locks and everything. Get it, Doc. She's extremely accomplished. Matt graduated with honors from her law school. She clerked actually previously for the justice who's leaving his seat. She's an extremely accomplished woman, and I'm so proud of her. There was a recent news story that talked about the three top candidates that President Biden was looking at. And one of the interesting stories that I found about this was she is through marriage related to, I don't know if you guys remember Representative Paul Ryan. Senator Paul Ryan. I think he's senator. I don't know. I should remember, but I don't, because I'm bringing this up on the fly. But I wanted to mention her tonight, and we'll talk more about her, I'm sure, as hearings come regarding her confirmation. I've already seen that apparently Senator Manchin does not intend to support her nomination. I don't. I haven't read the story yet to see why he doesn't support, but it doesn't surprise me. Joe Manchin's the most Republican Democrat I've ever seen. Um, and it's a really strange thing that is happening. But again, I always think the Republican Party is crazy like a fox, because this man, on most issues, he votes in a very Republican way. However, because he's elected as a Democrat, he's a part of the Democratic caucus, and so many times he's the key to things that his own party wants, that he's able to stand in the way of it. But I just want to take a moment to celebrate this beautiful woman, this beautiful, brilliant woman, this beautiful, brilliant Black woman. But again, I thought it curious. I think Washington, D.C. is a small world. And for Judge Ketanji to be related to Paul Ryan was really interesting to me. But the way that they are connected is she is married to she's married to the brother-in-law of Paul Ryan's wife, if that makes sense. Paul Ryan married into a family. She married into a family, and that's how they are related. And according to the story, they're very familiar with each other. When she was first made a circuit attorney, he was very supportive of her, and he's come out and restated his support for her nomination. And I do hope that she is successful in her endeavors to become the first Black female Supreme Court justice. I'm excited about that for her. And I think that the talks are going to be something else. But the reason I said that it's complicated for me is I'm at the place where I'm exhausted with we're still on firsts for Black people. It's 2022, and we're still coming up with all of these firsts. There's never been a Black person do this thing. And I know that there are people who feel a certain way when you start talking about Black history. And I love Black history. Today, I've even been listening to podcasts on, African history of Christianity. And Dr. Vincent Bantu, if you can find him, he's so just brilliantly blessed. Blessed with brilliance, hardworking, I'm sure, but also just has a great gift for helping understand those storylines. But it's amazing to me that there are still people who don't believe in systematic racism, and yet there's so many like basic things that Black people are still having to celebrate as firsts, even though we've been a part of this nation as long as we have. It's weird to me. And so it's like I'm excited about Judge Ketanji, but at the same time, there's a side of me that's like, dang, it's 2022, and still it's a possibility that, even 2022 isn't long enough, because, there may not be support. But I'm hopeful that there is support for her. She appears to be qualified. She appears to have, she's got judge experience at the federal level. She's even got experience as a clerk for the justice whose seat that she would be filling. So I'm excited about it, and I hope that she gets the opportunity. But Back to the little story that I had started going on. Now, when I saw this video, the video was of two of Tia Mowry's family members, her two brothers, actually, two of her brothers, and this young man who is her husband. And every time I see pictures of this man, I'm like, I feel like I'm familiar with who he is, what he's done, movies and shows and all of that. This gentleman's name is Corey Hardrick. And what I realized today, something they say on TikTok all the time, I was today years old when I figured out. It's not that I'm today years old that I figured it out. Today is the day that I took the time to just lay out why I'm confused on who this man is. And I realized as the day was going why I thought I knew who he was. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Corey Hardrick. He is an actor. He is a producer. And he's married to Tia Mowry, again, one of the Mowry twins from the show Sister Sister. What I very quickly realized is I thought that for some reason, I'm not quite sure why, I was crediting Corey Hardrick with the work of this gentleman. And the gentleman whose work I was giving Corey Hardrick credit for is another Black actor. And his name is Bumper Robinson. Now, you may remember Bumper Robinson from several places, but there's one place where I know you remember Bumper Robinson from. And he was on A Different World for about 20 plus episodes, and he played a young man by the name of Dorian. He was friends, might have even been romantic interest with Jada Pinkett. I don't quite remember. But this young man's been out here acting as a child for a very, very long time. Now, who I also tend to get Bumper Robinson confused with is another gentleman by the name of Dondre Whitfield. I'm going to share Dondre Whitfield's picture, so you all can see again where I was confused. This gentleman here is actor Dondre Whitfield. Dondre Whitfield has been working forever as an actor. And I have taken everything Dondre Whitfield did as a child and everything that Bumper Robinson did as a child, and I gave all the credit to young Corey Hardrick. And I'm about to show you them together. So maybe you can kind of see why my old eyes thought maybe this was the same person. And so today I had to sit down and do the work to separate them so that I could be sure to know these are not the same person. Bumper Robinson, Dondre Whitfield, and Corey Hardrick. They don't even look that much alike when you put them together. And I thought, Tracy, you just might be a racist because you thought all three of these black men were the same man. And so where I was today years old was in realizing that I don't know Dondre Whitfield from, I don't know, I don't know young Corey Hardrick from anywhere. I just most assuredly thought that I knew this man from some work he had done as an actor. And literally the only place I know him from is he was married to the twin. It's the only thing I know that he's done. You'll remember Bob Bumper was, Clarence the Too Fine, and on I think that was 227. He was on, like I said, A Different World. He played the young man Dorian. He's done so many things. Looking through his list of work. As a kid back in '83, he was on The Jeffersons. He did some episodes of Webster, Give Me a Break, Cagney and Lacey, Days of Our Lives. He was on there for a while, 2 years. He played on Family Matters. He was on there for some episodes. He did 23 episodes of A Different World. Pretty much anything you can think of, this child has been out here doing. He played Ivan on Living Single. He was on Sabrina the Teenage Witch for 11 episodes. He's just been out here working. And I had given all of his work to Corey Hardrick, which again, the only thing that I know that Corey Hardrick has done besides the Tupac movie is he's married to Tia Mowry. And he now Bumper Robinson's married to some lady. I don't know who. But then you see Dondre Whitfield. That was Vanessa from the Cosby Show. That was Vanessa's boyfriend, Robert. And he's got a really compelling character that he plays now on Queen Sugar. I don't know if his character is still on Queen Sugar because I haven't watched it in a million years. I don't know if it's still on. But he's been doing a whole lot of work. And then, of course, I have a picture here of Corey Hardrick in the only role that I know him as, the husband of one Tia Mowry. So today, I can't even begin to tell you the order, the order that getting that together in my mind brought me. It really gave me just kind of, okay. So now that you know that that's a thing, there was one other thing that I wanted to offer. Speaking of the Cosby Show, you know that I was a huge fan of the Cosby Show. I am a huge fan of the Cosby Show. Despite the situations and scenarios that we dealt with over the last little bit of time with Mr. Cosby and his situations. This is Vanessa. You remember Vanessa was next to the baby and the kids. And her friend, Kara. And you'll remember Kara was famous for talking really fast. She was the one who would just never seem like she took a breath. She would talk and just go. Just fly. And for a while, for some time, how you see people on shows and you wonder what happened to them. And then sometimes they'll show up in movies and you'll think you know what you're talking about. And so the young lady who plays Kara is actually an actress by the name of Elizabeth Navarez, I think is how you pronounce it. But she's definitely an individual. Again, her name, Elizabeth Navarez. Now, who many people over the years have said that she was this woman from the Diary of a Mad Black Woman. The young lady who was responsible, well, not responsible, but was the other woman in the marriage of the main character. Sorry, and he's like, oh my gosh, I remember we were at the theaters and somebody said it out loud. Oh my gosh, it's Vanessa's friend. And so I think from that point, been thinking, oh wow, it's Vanessa's friend. But here's what bothered me. Cosby Show was like 50 years ago. I know I'm hyperbole there, but not by much. Cosby Show is very old, and this is very clearly a young woman. This is not Vanessa's friend from the Cosby Show. That's Dr. Ketanji. That's Judge Ketanji. This is not her. This woman from Diary of a Mad Black Woman is an actress by the name of Lisa Marcos. So since I was getting Corey Hardrick together in my mind and realizing the only thing I knew him from was that, I thought it interesting to take a look at that other thing and say, you know what? Sometimes you think you know what you're talking about, and actually you really don't. And that's the note that I'm going to leave on tonight, is sometimes you think you know what you're talking about, and you really don't. Sometimes you can have a perception of a situation and think it's one thing, and you'll go through time. You may go through years believing that thing to be true, only to find out at the end of a matter that it was something completely different. So, closing out this week's episode, again, going back to the original conversation, there's a whole lot going on in the world right now. Things looking really bleak and dark. And it can be easy sometimes to fall into that bleakness and that darkness and get that heaviness on you. And you know me, I'm a preacher, so I'm going to tell you, peace is in the presence of the Lord. He keeps in perfect peace them who keep their mind stayed on him. He orders the steps of the righteous. He's promised to never leave us or forsake us. Elder Latanya tonight again tore the house down, talking about Hezekiah and how, as Hezekiah dwelt with the Lord, as he stayed with the Lord, he prospered, and walked us through some just magnificent retellings of the story when Hezekiah is being threatened and how the Lord handles his situation for him. And so that's the first place I'm going to tell you that you need to be seeking for your peace, that you need to be seeking for calm in this season, is you need to look to Jesus. You need to look to Yeshua. You need to look to the Lord. You need to look to the one who gave his life for you. That's where peace is. And to keep your mind stayed in the place that it needs to be. So Tracy, I'm already saved. I don't need all that. I don't know all that. Well, now more than ever, you need to be in your word. Whether you're a preacher, whether you consider yourself a sinner or a saint, you need to be spending time in the word, getting to know the character of our God, because again, dangerous days are coming, terrible days are coming. The Bible calls them perilous times. And when we get into those final days, those last days, there is an enemy of your soul. There will be one who will be antichrist, not just anti-against, but anti-instead. And that one's going to know the scriptures. That one's going to move in signs and wonders. That one's going to be charismatic. That one is going to be all of the things that the eyes would want. All of the things that logic would want. But that one won't be the Messiah. And so I said all that to say it is important in this season, if you are a believer, that you also be a Bible reading believer, so that you know where you have your faith established on truth and not just what you think, not just what somebody told you, not just what you thought it was, not what you remember from Sunday school, vacation Bible school, but what the scriptures actually have to say. Because in them, what is it? You think you find life. In them, though, you do find the instruction that you need, the help that you need, um, the reminder to know that all is not lost, that God is still in control. He warns us in his word that things will come. And I've already done a teaching on that over on Christ is Our Culture. So I'm not going to do that again tonight. But that's where I'm going to start always, to tell you when heaviness time, bad times, heaviness, all those different things, the answer is found in Christ. The answer is found in your Savior. And so that's where you start. But in addition to that, self-care is extremely important in times like these. Because again, you can watch 12 hours of news and just have it fed to you over and over and over again, even if you're looking at different perspectives of the news, watching news from different perspectives, it can become overwhelming. And it can become something to obsess over. If it's not the war, what's going on with Kim and Kanye? If it's not, what's going on with Kim and Kanye, I don't know about your timeline, but my timeline is filled with families losing loved ones. Not only my social media timeline, but my telephone, my text messages, families I'm very connected to, including my own, losing loved ones. You all know about our big loss back in November, but since that time, we've lost a cousin who went on an extended bout with COVID, and how COVID attached to his diabetes and was a mess. But he's passed on as well. So our family is grieving with all of the other families, and it can just become so much that you gotta laugh, you gotta smile, you gotta take care of your heart, you gotta take care of your emotions, you gotta take care of, yes, your spirit first, yes, then you gotta take care of your body. Are you getting out and walking? The weather's changing here in the Midwest, so are you getting out, getting some of the sunshine that we're getting a chance to see? I was so blessed to hear my friends talking about, the family getting bikes, so them preparing for bike rides. um, you can't spend all day complaining about how high gas is. Pastor YPJ did a great post the other day where he talked about he was getting ready to do a post complaining about gas prices, and the Holy Spirit arrested him because he could afford his gas. He could afford to put as much gas as he needed in his car. And so instead of complaining, he chose to do a post thanking the Lord for his ability to be able to afford his gas, but also taking that time to pray for those who are struggling, because there are people that it's difficult to maintain what they need in order to go where they're going. But guess what makes it harder when you're going through tough times? Guess what makes it harder? When you think things are one way, but in effect it's another. When you think all hope is lost, but in fact God is still in control. What makes it harder is focusing on how hard it is. And so this week, as we close out the check-in, I want to remind you, check yourself. See what you're talking about. See what you're posting. See what you're sharing with other people. Are you talking hope? Are you sharing hope? Are you sharing goodness? Are you taking the time to laugh? Are you spending some time with your kids? Are you spending some time with your family members? Are you spending time with the Lord? Are you spending some time with yourself, making sure you're okay? Spending time in the Word. There's so many things that you can do to keep yourself focused on God is still in control. All is not lost. I'm still here, so there's hope. Even though people are dealing with devastations, and I may be dealing with devastations of my own, God has not left me nor forsaken me, and all hope is not lost. And so I spent a little bit of time tonight talking about some news stories. Spent a little bit of time tonight talking about some things that I found funny. I hope every day you find something that makes you laugh out loud, that makes you laugh uncontrollably. Not because you're crazy, but simply because you found something that brought a little happiness to your day. God gives us joy. That's a spiritual situation. But that there was something that made you happy in your day. I pray for that for you. That your day is not just filled with doom and gloom. Let me go to work. Let me come home. Let me lay down. Then let me get back up and get back to the grind again. Got to get this money. Got to get this bag. I pray that there is something in your day that brings a smile to your face, that lifts your heart, that changes your countenance from resting angry face, stoic, untouched face, that makes the ends of your lips curl up and makes you laugh, makes you sing, makes you enjoy. That your whole day isn't, we know that God is never in the nevertheless business. Even though I'm going through, nevertheless I'm going to praise him. I pray that you have some moments in your day, some extended periods of time in your day where you get lost in joy. And that for a moment, the things that aren't immediate for you get to step away. Last year, when we were going through health crisis with my mom, one of the things that helped me more than anything was, finding something to read, finding some music to listen to, um, getting in my word, doing things that didn't make me focus on, oh, I gotta go back to this hospital. Eventually, I came to understand I was spending too much time at the hospital. Open up and let somebody else go, because you can't drown yourself and surround yourself in that thing all the time. You gotta come up for air. And so I pray that this week you get an opportunity to just come up for air a little bit. Find a good news story, find a good book, find yourself some good music, something. But don't allow yourself to get pulled so deep into the heaviness of the reality of what we're dealing with now that you forget to enjoy the life that we have. So, with that note, I'm going to close out with the constant reminder that we give you: check on your people, not because you're afraid for them. Check on your people because you love them. Talk to them, see how they're doing. Lay your eyes on some people. Be careful, because, they told folks they didn't have to wear their mask and people wouldn't have wearing them anyway. So now people have totally blown all caution to the wind and doing whatever. So be careful, be wise, be mindful. But above all, love the Lord, love his people, love yourself. And I will hopefully see you same bad time. Well, no, not same bad time because I'm late this week. Next week at the right time. Have a good night, and I'll see you later. Jason and Clemisha Hayes, bless you. Thank you for sitting in here listening to this rambling. Thank you to those who will hear the replay, share the replay, respond to the replay. However, whatever it is, if you just open it and delete it, I'm good too. But I pray you get to laugh this week. So I will talk to you later. Bye.